Hello and welcome back to the podcast, now video cast. I'm Maribel Lopez, the founder and principal analyst at Lopez Research, and I'm really excited to be joined by another great senior leader in the tech space, Sally Bament. She is the Vice President of Service Provider Marketing at Juniper Networks. Hey, Sally. In her role at Juniper, she's responsible for leading and executing the company's marketing plans to drive demand, awareness, sales enablement for industry-leading service provider solutions. So that's some of what Sally's been doing. She has many years of experience in marketing, communications, product management, program management, sales, and M&A specifically in areas of networking and telecommunications. Sally, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Maribel, and looking forward to the discussion.
You know, it is that time of year. We are approaching Mobile World Congress 2023. It's actually nice to have it be back at the beginning of the year again, to have it be in person again in a more meaningful way than I think it was last year. And I thought we might start there and speak a little bit about, what is your perspective on the state of the mobile industry right now?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, Maribel, it's exciting times. I mean, we're seeing, we're certainly seeing 5G's potential grow from what was just massive bandwidth and capacity and high density with the rollout of these new and innovative services. And the other thing that's amazing to see is how quickly things have shifted to cloud-hosted applications and services. I mean, almost everything now is cloud-hosted, whether it's, latency-sensitive applications like, video conferencing and gaming, secure applications in banking and finance, but telehealth as well. And even, when we think about here at Juniper, even though we're all encouraging our employees to go back to the office, all of our business applications now, we can get access to on our mobile phones for telecommuting. So even at Juniper, everything has become cloud hosted. So great opportunities for operators. There's some challenges too, but I'm sure we're going to get to that.
It's interesting where you started on this and the whole concept of everything moving to the cloud and everything being so network centric. As people that have been in networking and telecom for a long time, I think we always thought it was network centric. But now we're in that land where the experience of the network really matters. So yes, the connectivity matters, the latency, the broadband capability of it, the distribution of applications and services throughout the globe, and trying to actually monitor that really means that service providers are quite critical in this new world order. And you mentioned 5G. And I know we've been talking about 5G for some time, but I'm wondering, what are some of the things you think mobile operators should be thinking about today as they look to capitalize on 5G? I know originally it was just like, we're moving to 5G, we're starting to light it up, but now we're in the midst of it. So what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, you hit upon experience, right? From our perspective, it's all about the experience they're delivering to their end users, the people who are connected to their networks. And quite frankly, we think that's going to really determine the winners and the losers. I talked about, the way that we consume content, the way we connect to it, the way we're connecting to each other. It's changed dramatically. And more than anything, it's had a big change on traffic, on the network traffic in two areas, just the sheer volume of it. But also, to your point, the actual traffic flows themselves, because content, apps, workloads, they're all distributed now closer to the end users. So, what's going to be interesting is the operators are going to have to deal with this transformation in the network traffic while still ensuring that their customers, users, folks connected to the network still have an amazing experience. So that'll be a key focus for sure.
Okay, I'm going to switch back to that experience point in a moment, but we were just recently talking about how there's a lot of opportunity, but there are also some challenges. So what are some of the challenges you're seeing operators facing, and how does that translate into some of the things you believe you need to invest in to help operators overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so, great questions. When you think about, the changing traffic patterns, as I just mentioned, and being able to support, fantastic experience, It's all about making sure that the network is certainly scalable and agile, again, to deal with this traffic, highly automated, and particularly because things just got more complicated, right? Particularly with, edge cloud hosting and 5G, and that tied to the fact that many of these operators are dealing with skilled staff shortages as well. So, the opportunity to automate, and particularly AI-driven operations to deploy services faster, to detect issues faster, and then to remediate before users do is all important as part of that experience. Security, that's another area, right? As we've seen these networks distribute, and the attack surface is now larger. So being able to integrate pervasive security, zero trust security, and being able to instantly identify issues is really, really key. Cloudification, leveraging the benefits of virtualization for agility is also key. And I can't not mention sustainability, right? Top of the list for almost every major cloud service provider these days. And it's, sustainability, not just in terms of the planet regarding, energy efficiencies, et cetera, but also people and profits, right? How do they sustain business growth? All of that is top of mind. And all of those things, all of those areas are going to be focus areas for operators as they deploy the networks.
So many of the things you said could apply to businesses in general in terms of creating that agility, needing that visibility, needing that security. What I think is different in the service provider landscape is really about the scale that we're talking about. And then you've mentioned experience a few times, and I know that Juniper as a company has been talking about experience first networking. And I know in the service provider landscape, we have quite a few discussions about creating differentiated network experiences for different groups of people, from individuals all the way through specific companies to applications. And in some ways, I mean, differentiated services isn't a new concept. Right? We talked about this when we moved into MPLS networks and other things. But if we fast forward to today, I'm wondering how you're seeing the concepts of these play out in the market today. Are you starting to see this experience first networking gain traction? How are service providers thinking about deploying these strategies so they can get to differentiated services? Can you give us a little bit of context on where we actually are today?
Yeah, and maybe I should start by just clarifying the areas that we're investing in, Maribel, and our focus, from a strategy perspective. Well, first of all, I mean, we are incredibly fortunate to call sort of the largest global service providers our customers. Service providers is really the heritage of Juniper, right? It's where we started, and our partnership with our service provider customers really drives a lot of the investment decisions that we make. And if I were to start at a top level, and you've touched on this, it is all about experience, but in two areas. It's simplifying the network operator experience, and it's improving the end user experience. So it's two aspects of it: the operator and then the end user connected to the network. And that's what we call experience-driven networking. And there's really three key areas, investment areas, that we've focused on for service providers. The first is what we call really scalable IP services fabric. That is essentially all about automated IP transport. It's about our heritage in core and edge routing, but more importantly, it's about the investment we've made in metro access and aggregation. And that is the part of the network that's going through the most change right now, because almost all traffic is staying within the metro, flowing between those, distributed edge compute locations. So that is a big area of focus for us. The second of the three areas is what we call cloud-first platforms. That's all about the automated data center. And it's about simplifying day 0, day 1, and day 2 operations in a multi-vendor environment for telco cloud, edge cloud, and just data center operations in general for service providers. And then the third area, which is kind of an interesting area for us, is building out our full stack of AI-driven enterprise managed services, and then allowing operators to essentially leverage that to deliver, cloud delivered, revenue generating and differentiated managed services to their business customers. And this is obviously a lot of what we've done with the full stack implementation following our acquisition of Mist, to allow operators to differentiate themselves and make money in terms of, delivering on a fantastic experience for business customers. And then, lastly, I'll say, threaded through those three solution areas, automation, and that's automation from the radio access network with our RIC technology and our orchestration technology, through IP transport, all the way to the cloud, to the core and the data center through our Paragon and then Abstra automation portfolios. And then the second is security. We've done a lot in terms of enabling the network to participate in securing itself, securing, users, devices, and also applications and workloads. So a lot of investment areas that I should have touched upon, first of all. And then, obviously your question about, are we seeing traction? I mean, absolutely. When I go back to those three key areas, first of all, scalable IP services fabric, we have a phenomenal relationship with a strategic alliance partner called NEC. NEC have fully embraced our, core automated IP transport portfolio, but also our newer Cloud Metro offering. And actually, one of our recent wins was with a sizable service provider in Europe. They chose our Cloud Metro portfolio to basically improve the end user experience for their metro network. They got benefits from the power and space efficiency of our solutions to improve their own total cost of ownership. And also, we built them a network that allows them to scale for the future with performance and capacity that they can grow into. And that actually helps with, system longevity and reducing e-waste, because they now have platforms that are going to take them into the future. So great example, one example where, we've seen a lot of what's playing out in terms of requirements on the network, take shape with where we're investing. Secondary automation, our partnership with Rakuten Symphony, that actually started about a year ago. They selected Juniper's cloud native routing stack for their next generation DU called SimWare. But more recently, they've started to offer our RIC, our radio intelligent controller technology on SimWorld, which is their marketplace. They chose us because our RIC offering is very open and standards based, and it allows them to build a partner development ecosystem, if you will. So another example where, agility, cloud-based is all coming into play in this new world. And I'm going to mention a couple more. One, my favorite, managed services. Our partnership with Verizon, certainly, we do a lot with Verizon from an infrastructure perspective, but we partnered with them for their Verizon Connected Healthcare initiative. This is a collaboration hub that they built in the UK. And it's all about obviously leveraging Verizon's industry leadership in private 5G with our AI-driven enterprise portfolio. And it essentially allows, as a joint solution that allows for patients in healthcare, in the healthcare environment, to get access to information, incredibly quickly. It allows clinicians to basically, make sure information is delivered when and where it's needed. And it includes some advanced location services. So essentially, clinicians can locate medical devices, people, specialists, doctors, you name it. So it's an example where 5G is turning into something real in terms of a real application, a real, value-added service. And then I can't not mention the data center. Vodafone Turkey, they chose Juniper's Abstra to manage a multi-vendor data center network with multiple data centers. And that was all about simplifying operations because things are more complicated. And they wanted to be able to simplify the operations of that data center network. Long answer to the question, I know.
No, but I think it really gets to the opportunity that we see, right? There isn't just one thing you can do as a service provider. There's lots of levers that you can pull, and they have different impacts on the business. Can you give the audience any maybe previews of some of the things that they might see at the show from Juniper, or just how are you thinking about what MWC is going to be for you?
Yeah, absolutely, Maribel. And I can't believe how quickly it's coming up, to be honest with you. It's just a couple
Right.
weeks away. I know.
Crazy.
I know. So our key message is experience the network of the future now. We've already talked about, the fact that, the amount of data at our disposal is continuing to grow, and the need for networks and operations to keep pace. So what we'll have is a number of demos showcasing just how we can help with that. We'll have one demo around our cloud-delivered transport automation portfolio. And that actually is all about Cloud Metro and how our Cloud Metro solution that we announced last year delivers speed, agility, an amazing service experience, all in a highly sustainable way. That's a bit of a teaser, but there'll be a highlight of demos around that. The second demo area will be about our intelligent operations in the automated data centers. So back to the how do you simplify day 0, day 1, and day 2 operations in a multi-vendor world? And we'll also be tying into that some of our cloud native capabilities, particularly with telco cloud applications. So that will be a second area. Third area will be our Open RAN orchestration and controller solutions, and how, along with our key partners, we're helping operators add value and innovation in the radio access network. And then the fourth one will be all about that full stack of AI-driven enterprise managed service offerings, very similar to the Verizon application that I talked about, but how operators can really generate revenue through a highly differentiated and cloud-based full stack of enterprise services. And we'll have security also, threaded through all of those 4 demo areas. So we got a lot going on.
I was going to say, there's a lot. I thought there might just be 1 or 2 things. It sounds like there's several. Now, just you had alluded to this earlier, but I was wondering if you had any broader predictions for what's going to happen at MWC. And one of the things you were talking about was sustainability. I personally think it's going to be a big year talking about how sustainability impacts networks, impacts the future of technology in general. I mean, what other things are we going to be hearing about? Are we going to be talking about 6G? I know we spent some time talking about 5G. Is it like that time now that we've got to, throw out the old G and get a new G?
Well, someone's going to be talking about 6G, and I don't know.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah, seriously. And I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl on Sunday, but I saw an advert for 10G. It was a bit of a spoof, but that was actually in the Super Bowl ads this weekend, which is hilarious. But yeah, no, seriously, based on the conversation we're having with operators, and actually we took a quick look at the GSMA GLOMO Shortlist Awards, of which, by the way, Juniper is selected for a couple of them. When I look at the shortlist there, and obviously the conversations we've been having, I think absolutely energy efficiency, and because of sustainability, but just also because of the cost of energy, and also system longevity and how you reduce e-waste will be important aspects that will come up in conversations, again, related to sustainability. To your point, Maribel, I'm totally in agreement with you. I think we will hear about network experience, and I think we will hear about it from the perspective of an operator, as well as the end user. I think there'll be a lot of AI-driven automation, and it'll be, focused on speed to deployment, agility, and reliability, right? And that's all about speed, again, to detect and remediate issues in the network. Security is a bit of a given, but, the need to continuously improve security offerings, particularly, again, as we are opening ourselves up to more vulnerabilities, I think that's going to be top of mind as well, to be honest with you. So those are my kind of predictions. But yeah, somebody will be talking about 6G. And who knows, it'd probably be Juniper. So,
There you go. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about what's coming next. Sally, thank you so much for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great MWC.
thank you, Maribel, and great to chat with you.